Hi, guys.
Hey, everybody.
How are you this evening? I hope you guys are doing well out there in the interwebs. We're doing
Hopefully,
okay.
I'm not doing okay. It's been an evening from hell for me, but I'm here and that's what counts. So,
Right before this started recording, she made me cry. So there's that. It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. I miss
should
us
we
all.
should we tell should we
Yeah.
tell them why you were crying?
Yeah.
Okay. So most of you who know me know that we had a dog named Lucky, and he passed away last summer after a long battle with a lot of different lumps. Um, and we have his urn up there in that box with his neckerchief wrapped around it. And that little black thing is a little black lab puppy statue because he was a black lab. And then that tennis ball tube looking thing, that was his toy. That was his squeaker. And we have his collar that had like his tags from 2006. We never put the new ones on. And then there's a plaque right there that has a really nice saying on it. And then right there is his paw print. So we're missing Lucky.
He
Lucky
was
was a
the
good dog.
bestest dog ever.
He really was the best
Now
dog.
I'm crying again.
Lucky was the best dog.
The best dog ever.
And now I'm crying.
I'm sorry. Okay. Okay.
We're a mess and we haven't even gotten started yet.
Hot mess, y'all.
Oh, goodness.
Lord help us. In any case, welcome to How's My Light?
How's my light is not good today.
You know, it's
You
not
have
good.
much, much better light.
This quarantine hair has got to go.
Mine is actually doing okay. Like I took some scissors to the sides here so they weren't like twanging out, but I can't untwang this. So I'm just kind of just putting it down.
It's growing out nicely. Mine, however, I'm at fro status if I'm not careful. So I had my hair done today, and then I was like, by like 6 o'clock, I was like, nope, ball caps going on. I took before we get started, I took Cap out today because for the last week, I don't know if you guys have been following me on social media at Dance in the AM. These actually, our little tags don't show up on the recording, by the way.
Really?
It's just for us.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. In any case,
that is really odd.
In any case,
Who knew?
I have been giggling with the email that just popped up. Got an email.
Oh.
It just popped up. Like, that was ironic. I've been craving a freaking burger and fries for like the last week, and I've been holding off and holding off and holding off. I can make dinner at home. I haven't gone anywhere in the last 2 weeks. I've had enough groceries. I haven't had to go anywhere. Although today I ran out of eggs, so it's a grocery store run tomorrow. In any case, I took Cap out for like the first time in 2 weeks, and
Cap is her
car. For those of you who don't know, it's superhero blue, and I absolutely love Captain America. He's my favorite Marvel superhero. So there's that. So I named my car Cap. In any case, I took him out for the first time in 2 weeks, and he was like, "Ah." I forgot how much I love to drive, you guys. I love to drive, and I forgot. I was like, oh, why wasn't I doing this before? In any case, I had to go get my burger and fries. So I got my burger and fries from Five Guys, and I'm a very happy girl. This is not a paid advertisement. However, Five Guys, if you want to sponsor this podcast,
we would love to hear from you.
I'm always trying to work that in, you know? So somehow. Well,
I
not
need to just
apologize.
start putting things behind me in the background. I think I had a Wahlburgers sweatshirt and hat on the
Yeah.
other day.
Boom, right there.
I
There
drink
it
from a
is.
Tupperware cup constantly, so there's that.
There it is. That's not the Rona. Just a little lemon. It's a little lemonade going down the wrong way. So yesterday, as I segue into the actual podcast, well, our topic of conversation, yesterday I posted that we were going to be starting a 3-part series surrounding the topic of fear. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about fear of trusting oneself and others. And next week's, we're going to do trust. Yeah, there it is.
Actually backwards, but it
But
spells
you
trust.
get it, right? You understand, guys out there. You can read that backwards. Most of yous can read that backwards.
Well, except for Jeff Timmons, who thought it read twat. Thanks, Jeff.
That's fantastic. I forgot about that. In the coming weeks, we'll be talking about fear of the unknown and the uncontrollable. And then we're going to round out that series probably with fear of rejection and abandonment.
Yep.
They're
Some big
heavy
stuff.
topics.
Some big stuff coming over these next 3 weeks.
Yeah, we're coming with the big guns. We're diving deep. Get those masks on, guys. Make sure those oxygen tanks are full because we're going down. We're going down.
And we are going to try to limit ourselves to 1 hour.
She did say that.
We must limit ourselves because we talk way too much. So, I mean, we're already probably 15 minutes into the segue or into the podcast, and we haven't even begun to touch on anything yet. So.
Right. We had a conversation, Mel and I, the other day via Facebook Messenger. Oh, that reminds me, before we go into this, we were thinking about doing a live podcast.
Yes.
We were going to do it tonight, but it was kind of last minute, and we also were trying to figure out, should we do it from the How's My Light Instagram account, or should we do it from one of our personal ones where we have more viewers? So we're going to work that out. You guys can put that in the comments or let us know. Next week, we would like to do a live podcast from either Facebook or Instagram. We would love for you guys to join us. We'll figure out a time that's probably better for everybody to be watching. She and I are both night owls, so our podcasts will probably be posted somewhere between 10 p.m. and midnight.
Considering it's 9:45 right now.
So somewhere between 11 and midnight. By the time we're done with this, and it gets loaded onto YouTube. So let us know which you prefer, Facebook or Instagram, and then we'll figure out which account that we'll do it from. And we're going to do it live. We're going live, guys. Go on live. Back to what I was saying, that you and I had a conversation via Facebook Messenger regarding fear. We started to go into it a little bit, and there's one topic that we were talking about that just prompted me to be like, okay, we should probably be talking about this in our podcast. And in our thread conversation via text messaging this morning with you, myself, and Sherry.
Sherry Shepard, for those of you who don't know,
is
a dear friend of ours.
Yeah, Mel and I have both decided that after a very Sherry conversation, which if you guys don't watch that, you should go to her Instagram live and follow at Sherry Shepard, so that you can see it's every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific. She's going to be talking Instagram live, different friends of hers. So, and the last couple have been fan-freaking-tastic. But we've also decided that our favorite part is after the Instagram live, when we're texting her and we're in the thread conversation about what just took place. Usually she texts us, like, "Got any questions?" And then for the guests, and then afterwards we have a discussion about it. So I think that's like.
And actually, her IG handle is Sherry, Sherrie Shepherd, Sherry E. Shepherd.
I did know that, so I apologize.
Yep.
Thank you for correcting me. I stand corrected.
You're welcome.
Sherry E.
You're welcome.
Don't forget that E. Shepherd.
SHEPHERD.
That's a very Sherry conversation. We love you, Sherry. You're welcome.
Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Sherry. Because she does that to us. Hi, Emery. Hi, Mel. Love her. In any case, we had this great conversation via text thread this morning regarding fear. And because of that, it just reaffirmed for me the different types of fear and where those things can come from. And she had mentioned the different things that, how making decisions based on fear will always bring you down, is what Sherry said. Making decisions based on fear. And she had listed all these different things in her life that led to poor decisions. And so I mentioned that I think it depends on the fear. There's a healthy kind. Sherry always says, do it scared, which I wholeheartedly agree with. That's how I do most of my decisions. I just jump clearly, and we've talked about this before, I just do things. I just
completely. I can verify that without a doubt. I'm a little more cautious, but I still do a lot of things scared.
Yeah, I just go, because I always, my stepmom, who is my mom, for those of you who don't know, she's been my mom for more than I had my actual mom with me. So blessed, again, I've said that before, and I'll say it to the day I die. I'm very blessed to have had both amazing examples of women. In any case, I lost my train of thought, is what in any case is.
We were talking about fear.
Yeah, and doing it scared.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the other kind, the kind that comes from experience, that causes lack of trust. Fear that is sometimes based in actual events, and people say or do things to cause that fear. It causes a lack of trust. And I think those experiences make it hard sometimes to discern what is real danger to us mentally, emotionally, spiritually, what have you, and what is actually, like I refer to in the acronym of fear, is false expectations appearing real. So maybe you had...
Which kind of ties back, it kind of ties back into the anxiety that we addressed last week. I know that my anxiety, and I think a lot of people's, stems from the fear of that, thinking that what we're seeing and what we're anticipating is real. So yep. That's an excellent anagram.
Yep. So when I was thinking about that conversation today, it made me wonder, for you, Mel, I was wondering if you were to pinpoint, I don't know why I'm holding this USB drive. I'm just holding it.
It's your version of a fidget spinner.
Oh, my fidget spinner? Where's my Captain America one? That's what I should get out. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere. If you were to pinpoint the first time you felt afraid as being a direct result of something someone else said and or did, two ways. One, in a non-dangerous way, and then two, in a dangerous way, meaning, is there something that put you in direct harm's way via, traumatic event, and I know that there is, but I want you to talk about it. And then if there's another example where the first time you felt afraid because of something someone said or did, and your false expectation of what that occurrence would mean, if that makes any sense at all. I was curious.
You'll have to kind of guide me on that one, because I'm not 100% sure on that one.
That's fine. I am not either.
The one that really comes to mind for me, my mom was 36 when she had me, and before I was even 6 months old, she asked my father to leave. He was a Vietnam vet in the Army, or excuse me, the Air Force. And he had come home from Vietnam with PTSD that he self-medicated with alcohol. He became abusive to my mother and my siblings. And because she didn't want him to have any effect on me with that abuse and with that PTSD, she asked him to leave and not come back. That was about 6 months after I was born. And so from the time that I was 6 months until the time that my father died, which was 1981, I would have been in the beginning of second grade, I think. There was a lot of, there were a lot of things going on at the time that helped fuel it, but I think that the Adam Walsh disappearance, for those of you who are old enough to remember, had a huge impact on my life, just because my mother was always scared to death, mostly that my dad was going to return from Georgia, where he was from, and kidnap me and take me back to Georgia, and my mother would have no way of getting me back. So while she didn't really explain that to me right away, obviously because I was too young to understand, but once I began school and things like that, she really went to talk a lot about the stranger danger. And, if you see someone you don't know and they're trying to talk to you, run the other way, tell an adult, the typical stuff that we tell our kids. But she would take it a step further. If there was anybody that, said, "Hey, I'm your dad," and it wasn't my stepdad, which I've always called my dad. If it's not your stepdad and they're claiming to be your dad, they're not, and you need to run and tell an adult. So from the time that I was, old enough to even understand it, it led to my anxiety. I know that that's what led to my anxiety attacks. I had the first one when I was 4. And so we were at a mall, and there was a janitor guy that was going around to the food court tables and clearing off tables. And Mom had set me down at my table with my food, and she had gone to go get hers. And, this guy that I didn't know, he was a total stranger, and he just kept getting closer. And, remembering what my mom had told me, it scared the hell out of me. Very unrealistic fear. But Mom had drilled it into me over and over and over and over and over time again. Don't let any man get close to you. So, I went tearing off to find her, and I was in tears and I was crying and I was just a mess. And so, until he died, when I was in second grade, my life was filled with that fear that my dad was going to come back and kidnap me. And the only stories that she had ever told me, because of her own brokenness and her own inability to deal with things, wholly and truthfully, she babied me a lot. So she didn't explain why he had been dangerous. She just told me that he was dangerous. And as I've become an adult and gotten back in touch with that side of the family, I've learned that it was the PTSD that had changed him so much. But at the time, it was a very real fear for me, very real fear. And it was a very real fear for her as well. But because she did not know how to, treat that fear and heal from what had happened, she passed that fear on to me. So, there was a very real dangerous threat to me at that time, especially considering I hadn't seen him since I was 6 months old. So, that was what I remember most strong, was the fear of my dad coming back to get me and take me home. So
It's so crazy to me, the different types of fear, and how that some of it is very real, that could have actually been a possibility. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
She did take it to an extreme, of course, but what I'm saying is that's a possibility that causes, especially a child at such a young age, it causes you to be on guard, on edge, on defensive at a very, 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 very young age.
And
And
I mean, I was scared to death of any kind of stranger. Not so much women as much as men, but I was terrified of men. Absolutely terrified. I remember I had a different bus driver one day. My bus driver was a woman, and we had a fill-in who was a man. And I had a conniption fit. I went to the teacher that had bus duty, and I'm like, I'm not getting on that bus. And she said, well, why not? That's your bus. And I said, no, it's not. That's not my bus driver. I'm not getting on that bus. And so I went into the office. I was hysterical and went into the office, and they called my mom, and my mom came and got me. And I don't remember if she said, it's okay to get on the school bus with the other kids, or if she, said it was, I'm glad that you called me. I don't remember what the actions were after that. But I remember being terrified because it was a man on the bus driver, as a bus driver that I had never seen before. It was that anxiety, like you said, it was day in, day out. I remember there had been reports, I think, one day of a guy on a bicycle riding around the town. And he had stopped in front of the school several times, several days in a row. And he was just kind of watching the kids when we were out at recess. And so, a note went home to the parents and whatnot. And my mother didn't allow me to go out to recess until it stopped happening, and so, I mean, people think I'm being dramatic if I have uncertainty when it comes to strangers, but the truth is that was ingrained in me from the time that I was old enough to understand it.
that's not the, I don't, when you were younger, I mean, that's not like the only incident of an outside force creating that fear,
No.
as an actual fear of danger. How old were you when you had the house fire?
Oh, it was the summer between second and third grade. So it was the following year. It was about a year and a half after my dad died, or after my father died. My dad had coincidentally had a heart attack in front of me, which was terrifying. For some reason, our phone was out that day. They were fixing phone lines or whatever. I would have been 9. No, yeah, I would have turned 9 that summer. And my dad came home. He was an on the road truck driver, and came home and just wasn't feeling good after dinner. And so he went in to take a bath real quick and told my mom, you need to call first responders and have them come out and just kind of check me out a little bit. He goes, I don't feel right. And because the phone wasn't working, she had to go into town and go to the fire station. And so she was gone doing that. And in the meantime, my dad had come out from the shower, and he was sweaty and he was clutching his chest, and the man had a heart attack in front of me. And that was the 4th of August. And on the, oh gosh, 17th or 18th of August, that same year, my mom woke me up in the middle of the night because we had a house fire. So to have those two traumatic events just 2 weeks apart was fucking terrifying. And that, I mean, it all, God, I didn't sleep well for ages. I was 9, and I went back to sleeping in my mom's bed. Like I said, my dad was in the hospital, and after he got better, he went out on the road. So I slept with my mom for like another 2 or 3 years because I was scared to death that there was going to be a fire in the night and I wouldn't be able to get out.
Do you have that same fear now?
Yes, absolutely I do. Absolutely I do. I joke about not wearing pants and stuff because I hate pants, but people have really found it interesting that we have an empty nest. And I lock my door at night and I still don't sleep in the bus when it's just my husband and I. And that's, when you've gone out in, in the middle of your driveway at the age of 9 in your underoos, Wonder Woman, by the way, and you're standing there in your underwear. It was basically just, like a tank top that came just beneath my breasts, and, Wonder Woman underpants, basically. I still to this day leave some sort of clothes out, either on my dresser or hanging on a hook, so that if for some reason something happens, I can grab what I need and, get out of the house safely.
Yep, makes total and complete sense. And that is an example of what I talk about from the outside fear from experience of actual dangerous situations that a person has been in that causes actual ongoing fear through an adult. You carry that with you.
Right.
Do you have a time? Now I'm switching gears here to a different type of fear.
Okay.
Can you pinpoint a time where you felt afraid based on, this is the one that I have to kind of dissect a little bit and kind of break down a little bit, a reaction that somebody had? And what I mean by, I'll give you an example. I think that's, for me, it's more of, I'm thinking of embarrassing moments and that fear of being yourself because as a result, do you know what I mean? So for me, I remember the first situation where that was true for me. I was in second grade. I tell this story often. And I went to a Catholic school. I grew up all 12 years in Catholic schooling. And one of the rooms that we had, which is more prevalent now, of like trailers. Do you know what I mean? Like trailers off of a building to create actual, like school room.
They called it pods at our schools.
Pods. That's what it's called. There's a name for it now, but when you're in second grade, you don't really pay attention to what the name is. You just know that you're walking up the steps in a trailer and you're opening the door and there's the room. Well, might have been first grade. Can't remember. It was either first or second grade. It was one of the two, but it was Sister Marie. And I remember this. And we were outside at recess, and there's the pod, and then it was like on the back side of the church, and then there's this slab of concrete. I'm gonna go this direction. You guys can see. So there's the pod, and then the church, and then there's a slab of concrete, and then the school building, and then on the other side of the school building is a parking lot. Okay. And so in that slab of concrete between the church and the school building, there was like a hopscotch, like painted hopscotch and like painted four square and like all of that. And then back behind there was one of those domes, those jungle gym domes. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know what they're talking about. Like spheres? Is that what it is? Dome. Well, you know what I mean. You would
like
see
the
all over
triangle dome climb on things.
Yeah, I would like to go up there, go up to the top and like hang upside down from my legs and just swing. Because
I did the same thing.
That's just me.
You had more chance of hitting the ground than I did, however. You've always been tall. True story.
In any case, on the other side of the school building where the parking lot was, the kids were not supposed to go during recess. We were supposed to stay in recess in between the two buildings where all those painted fun activity things were. We were not to go on the other side because it was a parking lot. So cars were coming in and out of there and they would never want us. However, on the back side of the school building, just inside of the parking lot was a, what's tetherball?
Oh, yeah.
We used to play that all the time. So there was two of them. So I would go over there during recess and I would pretend I was Gene Kelly and Singing in the Rain, and I would dance around that pole. I would like wrap the tether ball around so it wouldn't move. So I just had the pole. That's going to give you guys a not good image of me. At all. And that's not where I was going with this, but I was like, you know that I'm describing what I'm describing right now. But
it's all right, honey. You can admit that, during this rough time, you're supplementing income. It's okay. It's all right.
Nobody's supplementing that, man. Dear God in heaven, Lord help you if you are. In any case, what did Sherry say? You gotta feed the baby. If you gotta feed the babies, feed the babies. Won't mind a judge. Whatever gets you through. There's a better way, though. There's a better way. Anyway, reeling it back in, throttling it back in. One day at recess, we were out there, and I had wandered over to the other side. I wasn't supposed to.
Rebel.
And I know I've always been a rebel. It started raining. And I, being the Gene Kelly lover that I was,
Of course.
decided that I was just going to stay out there and sing and dance to myself in the rain. I could tell you exactly what I was wearing. It was a rainbow striped shirt, and I had jeans on. And I remember because I was dancing and singing in the rain in my rainbow shirt, and I was quite happy about it as well. In any case, I looked around at one point and realized I was the only one outside. I heard nothing because I had stopped and I heard nothing. I was like, is recess over? Did I miss it? Went to the trailer, knocked on. I was soaking wet, by the way. Not pounded on the door. Sister Marie opens the door and yanks me inside because she's a kind nun.
Gotta love the nuns.
She was a kind nun. And I just remember standing there and her chastising me and getting so mad at me for being outside when I should know better. And I was outside, and I had no business being out there, and everybody had come inside, and she didn't understand why. And she was just ripping me a new one in front of the entire class.
Oh, how awful.
Who was laughing at me. So, yes. So you would think that being the entertainer that I am, that would just fuel me. Oh, no. That just makes the shy little girl even shyer and not want to do anything or say anything or be around anybody or open my mouth to speak again because I was so embarrassed. And that feeling of embarrassment, you know what I'm talking about. It's like a ripple. It's a ripple through you, and it's not a good feeling at all. And it's not anxiety. It's different. The feeling of embarrassment it's a different feeling. And those of you guys everybody's been embarrassed at one point in your life. I guarantee it. And even if you don't know that's what it was, you know the feeling. You know that there's like this, and you can't get rid of it. And it's happened in other moments of my life. But that has caused, anytime I'm in a situation where I'm in front of a group of people or walk into a room full of people, that has fueled my my social anxiety because of that. That has carried me through.
Sure.
But that wasn't I wasn't in actual physical danger. Does that make sense? But there's a fear there. So that's my question to you. Do you have a situation or a time in your life that you remember at a very young age that has stuck with you now?
I would imagine that it would be something similar to that. I can't remember any one specific thing, but I know that there were many, many times where I was, embarrassed or whatever. The one thing that comes to mind, and it happened my first semester of college. I was a drama theater major with a speech minor. Love public speaking, absolutely adore it. I don't get nervous. I wing it. I'm good at it. What I'm not good at is memorizing lines and auditions. Auditions make me crazy. And I was a freshman in college, and as part of our theater class, we were required to audition for Pirates of Penzance, which, for those of you who don't know, it's a very lively production. It's a very fun production. Lots of silliness, and it's also a lot of operatic high soprano voices. I am an alto too, so I have a semi high voice. I can, I might be able to hit a high C, but for the most part, my notes are lower. But I remember having to go on that stage, and I had sat in the audience as the last one to audition. And I sat in the audience and listened to all of these incredible performers, seniors and juniors who had done musical theater since they were little tiny. They had experience when they were kids being in musical theater. And I did not have that background whatsoever. I had never taken a dance class, never taken a voice lesson. I just sing along with the radio, and I had done karaoke once or twice. So I got up there and I couldn't think of a song to sing. Absolutely. I love music. You guys know I love music. Cheese knows I love music. I could not, for the life of me, think of a song to sing. And I panicked. Like, it was just awful because I knew that I had to audition. And so in front of my entire, whoever auditioned for Pirates, and it's a big cast for those of you who don't know. There's like 8 or 9 sisters, and there's chorus people, and oh wow, it was not fun. But I stood in the middle of that stage and sang Happy Birthday in the softest voice I could have probably ever imagined. It was a whisper. I mean, it was truly a whisper.
It's like that character on Pitch Perfect, the Asian character. She's probably my cousin.
Yes.
Who she's got a great voice.
But she's got great pipes. I was very, not rambunctious, but I was fairly outgoing in college. So, I mean, it was, I didn't have a problem making friends, and I didn't have a problem being in speech class and doing little skits and drama and things that didn't involve music. But because I was so not confident with my singing voice, I was the opposite. I was like whispering on stage like the little Asian girl did. But I was terrified. I ran off stage after my audition, thanking God it was over, because I was just done. And I threw up and immediately went to my God, I can't even remember what they were called, but my counselor at the time, academic advisor, that's what it was. Went to my advisor and I was like, okay, so we need to remove drama from my major and I need to change majors. And he's like, he was my speech and he was part of my drama coach too. But he was my speech professor as well. And he's like, why are we changing majors? And I was like, did you not hear that audition? And he's like, okay, so you're not musical theater. But, even from that point until I was probably, mid to late 20s, I wouldn't even get up and sing karaoke. I mean, I was just, and having a friend like you who is so clearly talented with music, I am plenty comfortable standing off to the side, telling them what song to put on for you, because there's just no way. I mean, I'll belt it out in my car. I drive and take a lot of road trips, and it's a one-woman show in my car when I travel. But it's incredibly hard for me to get up on stage and sing at all. It wasn't until, I think I was, how old was I? I think I was like 28, 29, somewhere around in there. And I decided that I was going to be in the praise team at church. It was back when I was a Christian. We were very involved in our church. And the music was my favorite part of the service. And so I joined the worship team or the praise team, and I sang almost every Sunday. Bless them for not being rude. They just turned the mic down a little bit on some songs, but they let me sing. I mean, it's a joyful noise. It's not necessarily a pretty one.
You stop it.
No, it
really was. You give yourself enough credit, love.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
But it was, it was auditioning for that. I mean, I don't remember a lot of college from that first semester. I really don't. I can remember some of what went on in my classes and stuff, but I did change my major from theater with a speech theater minor to a history major. I mean,
That's a little different. She's such a researcher
I
now.
didn't stick with
Comes
that
in
either.
for all of the books that she's writing.
Shut up about all the books I'm not writing. I don't want to talk about all the books I'm not writing. Although I was getting my soundtrack ready for that.
For you? That's good.
Was.
That's good. She's got it. There's always a soundtrack to every book that she writes. And there should be a soundtrack to every book. There's a soundtrack for life. And I will tell you that for years I've had it. Your life has a soundtrack. My life has a soundtrack. There's a blog post that I have, I don't know, years back, probably 2011, that I started that post of my life has a soundtrack. And for every moment there is a song, and whatever song is playing is that soundtrack. Mm-hmm. Somebody else I know has a soundtrack of life. I like to say he copied me. Nope.
Yeah, in my iTunes, I tried Apple Music and just, winging it and stuff. But I need soundtracks. I need a playlist. There has to be some kind of organization. And I have one for every book I've written, every book I've started to write. I have a country music soundtrack. I have all kinds of things, but I also have one just for me, that kind of pinpoints the different parts of my life. So, but as far as the research, this is my binder for Distance in Time, the first book I wrote. And I have tabs and you name it, I've got it. I've got it in here. I have one for an upcoming book that I ended up having to shelve because my cover model ended up being a flake. But yeah, I have binders in research. So I was never going to be an actress. First of all, I'm short. Second of all, I'm not skinny enough. Thirdly, I can't memorize lines. So that would immediately just cut me out of half of the roles available to me at all in the first place. So researching, I think, is a much better fit for me. I'm like a research archaeologist.
I think you don't give yourself enough credit. First of all, standards have changed a little, not a lot in Hollywood, unfortunately, sadly, which hurts my heart. But there are a lot of actresses that are your height, your size, your body.
My height, yes, but I can only think of 2 actresses that come to mind, maybe 3 or 4 total, out of all of the actors and actresses in Hollywood, mostly the actresses who are any way resembling me, and I can name them all. And it was my insecurities at the time. I don't know if you've seen that post that I made the other day. I reposted a picture that I had taken of me in 1993. I was 18 at the time. And I'm looking at this picture and I'm like, my God, I was gorgeous. And I hate egotistical thinking, and I hate anything to do with an ego. So I felt kind of weird saying it, but I was gorgeous at 18. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, God, if I had only known it then. But we grow up with these things that get said in our head and we believe them, and
lies.
Coming back to the fear of what other people say and think.
Yes.
It's I trust what other people say rather than what I believe about myself, and that's a tough thing to overcome.
That's that's something that's ongoing. It's never ending, and nor should it be. That, you know, on our topic today of trusting oneself is that's in a journey of self-love, and acceptance of the whole you. And I had posted something the other day about how that self-doubt, and I started doing the comparison game.
Yeah.
I fell down the rabbit hole of looking on a social media post of skinny model that's over 6 foot tall and pouty lips and scantily clad and posing in all these awkward, amazing poses, and like, oh shoot, dang. I lost my pen. In any
You're gonna
case,
fall out of your chair, and I'm gonna laugh my ass off. Is what's gonna happen.
then we're gonna have to do like a side by side of when Donnie fell out of his during the live, because that was amazing. I want to throttle back just a little bit. We're on the right track though, but I just wanted to stop for a second. Trust. We're talking about trust. Hold that arm up, babe. Where's that wrist? Trust, by definition, it's both noun and a verb. In the noun form, it's a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something. And an example, relationships have to be built on trust. That's an example. As a verb, you believe in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of. An example, I should have trusted her or him. I should have done it, as in an action.
Do you know what my gut instinct was right there?
What?
To say I don't trust him or her or.
I know. We're going to go there first in just a minute. Trust implies unquestioning belief in and a reliance upon something or someone. Unquestioning belief. And what makes it so hard to trust is when we start out at a very young age and something happens that is a false expectation appearing real, not an actual dangerous situation, because that's a different part of fear. But the two examples that we just talked about, embarrassment, the fear of something bad happening based on something that you did. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so then you start replaying that on an endless loop as you get older, and other things come into play, or another situation comes up that's similar to that before, and that just reinforces that lack of trust in yourself and in your ability or your gift or your talent or whatever it is that you were put on this earth to do, to give back to the world. It's one of my firm beliefs is what gift you have, because we're all given one. We are all given one. Sometimes we're given multiple ones, but the gift that you are given, your talent, is God's gift to you. What you do with it is your gift back. Okay, not doing anything with it is a blatant rejection of said gift and is very disrespectful to the universe and a waste of your meat bag.
A waste of your what?
Yeah, some of you know what I'm talking about. Somebody that I love refers to the body that we inhabit as a meat bag. You get one.
Oh, gotcha.
you get one meat bag that you got to carry around. You got to take care of it. So
my meat bag is really
trusting oneself. Those were examples, right, of that. What carried me through from that first example that I gave of me, singing in the rain and then being laughed at because I was out singing in the rain, which is just something that came naturally to me, but I was embarrassed for having done it. So then that feeds into the not trusting what I was doing was right, because it felt natural to me to do that, that somehow was wrong. So that I shouldn't be doing it. Fast forward a millennia to the time where it came for me to audition for college. I was going to go to the Boston Conservatory. Everybody here who follows me on social media should know that Boston is my heart's home. And if you don't know that, then I don't know what to do with you. Okay. So there's a whole story about why that is, why Boston is so important to me. But I was going to go to the Boston Conservatory and I was going to major in dance and minor in music, right? And theater. I was going to be involved in those programs. Theater, because if you don't say it like that, then you're not a true
The
thespian.
theater.
Oh, theater. In any case, they were having kind of like regional acceptance auditions, I guess. If you were, rather than having to go clear out to Boston, I could just go to Chicago. And they were having, I could do my acceptance auditions there. So my dad, God bless him and may he rest in eternal peace. Although he's not really, he's always popping in and out. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. Anyway. He drove me to Chicago. The goal was to go. We were going to go and we were going to stay overnight. We're going to go to my audition, which was going to happen in the morning. We're going to eat lunch. We're going to do some sightseeing. It was going to be great. I was going to get accepted. Everything was going to be fine. All of that. I got through my my song. Okay, so I got through my solo audition, my solo piece for my song. I cannot tell you what I sang. I do not remember.
So it was your singing audition, not your dance audition?
This is all three in one day.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I had gotten through the song part of it. But again, I could not tell you what song because all I remember is the very last part of this. Got through my monologue because I'm like, we always say Mel and I are like yin and yang, right? Like the opposite. She's not great at memorizing lines. I'm beast. I'm a beast at it. I can't tell you, it's a dancer thing. When we're learning choreography, we have to learn it quickly. And so it's always, that part of my brain is always active and always working. I can, the song comes on in the middle of the night that was like from 1918. I could probably sing it. I just accessed this file. Anyway, nailed the monologue. Okay. I was warming up and stretching for my dance audition. And I made the mistake of walking by the audition room and happened to peek in and see the person who was auditioning before me. And I decided in that moment that I was not good enough and I was never going to be as good as that dancer on the stage, and I could not go through with the last part of the audition. I told my father, I can't do it. I am not going to be accepted because I will not dance as well as that dancer in there right now, and I need to go home. And my father, God love him, hugged me and asked me if I was sure. He didn't pressure me into doing it. He didn't. And I said, yeah, I can't do it, Dad. I'm never going to be good enough to get a job professionally. I'm never going to be good enough to sing professionally. I'm never going to be good enough to act professionally based on what I saw in that dance audition. I had come to that conclusion that I was not good enough. And we went to lunch. We went to Walgreens. And we drove 6.5 hours home, all in one day. And Mom, Jenny, she would tell you that she wished that he would have pushed just a little bit harder. And, everything happens for a reason. I say that often. Everything happens for a reason. We may not know in that moment or at the time what that reason is, but in time, the reason will reveal itself. That was not my path.
Yeah.
I was not meant to go to college. I was not meant to go that far away to Boston. Mom and I even had that conversation that she didn't think that I was ready because I was such an introvert and so shy, and she just didn't think socially that I was ready to go out and on my own and, let those wings fly. So had I gone in that direction, I would not have my two beautiful children.
Right.
So that was not my path. But it's that fear from at such a young age and other things that had happened through my life up into those 18 years that
Mhm.
caused that sent me catastrophically into a different direction.
Oh, buddy.
I didn't catastrophically, hence
Sorry.
catastrophically, which was me not trusting myself and my ability,
Right.
not trusting that what came naturally to me was good enough. That I didn't trust it.
Right.
I'm better now, but again, that's not my path.
Right.
I'm not meant to be an actress. I'm not meant to be a famous singer. I'm not meant to be, Beyonce's backup dancer. That's not my path either. But I do enjoy doing them. They're a part of me. They are. The stage is still my home. I still sing every chance I get. You check out my personal YouTube page, you can find all the covers on there.
I did one cover and I think I've deleted it.
I don't do it to get subscribers for that. I do it because I love to sing, and as part of that, what was given to me, I have to give it back. It's
Right.
my way of giving it back, right? What is not shared is lost. I got to give it back. So I'm wondering, for you, what you feel trusting in yourself means. Is it similar to what I just spoke about? Do you have a different take on it? Do you want to add anything to that?
I think I had a conversation with my husband earlier, and for those that don't know, he's out in his truck for long haul truck driving. Um, and today was the first time that he had to tarp the load and get everything fastened down and do everything by himself. He's had a trainer for the last several weeks. And he called me and he said, "Oh, God, I've had a bad day." I said, "Well, what happened?" He goes, "Well, nothing really happened. I'm just really hard on myself." Um, and he's like, I didn't do it the way that I was trained to do it. And, um, I don't know if it's secure enough and this, that, and the other. And I knew that that was just him saying, I need you to remind me that I'm okay and that I've done okay, which I did, of course. But it really made me think that, for me, and I think for a lot of people, we are our own worst critic. Um, I If I can't do it perfect, I won't do it. I I'm done. I will put it aside and I won't pick it back up. Um, when I first met Sherry, she sent me a, a card of, um, I think it was her Christmas card that year, and she signed it, "Write that book, love, Sherry." And I had hemmed and hawed back and forth with friends who had um, read what I had written. It originally had started out as a fan fiction story, and I knew that I couldn't publish fan fiction, and I didn't ever intend to publish fan fiction. I didn't. Publishing a book was just not what I wanted to do. I had readers who read and enjoyed my stuff, and that was enough for me. I didn't need to have a paperback in front of me or to have a paperback in front of the people that enjoyed my reading. I just wanted to write, and I wrote what I knew and what I loved. Um, and since finishing that series, I have not published again, and I finished my series in 2016. Um, so having gone 4 years without a book coming out of me is torturous. And the longer it is that it's not published, the less I believe in myself. And I'm in author groups and support, independent author support groups and whatnot. And I see these incredible authors, and they're putting out 3 or 4 or 5 books a week, or a month. No, not a month, a year. Sorry. They're putting out multiple books a year, and they still have time to manage their households and their kids and their spouses and some of them even have full-time jobs on top of writing. I don't have any of those things that I have to worry about. Obviously I have a family, but they're not young children to where that I have to, worry about getting them off to school and picking them up and taking them to soccer practice or picking somebody up from dance or something like that. I have all the time in the world, but I can't get out of my own head. I have an incredible story right now that Anne Marie and I had kind of hashed out a little bit, because I'd been blocked. I started writing it, I think, right after I finished All This Time, right? I think.
You had a break.
Okay. I think I started it during National Novel Writing Month, Nano.
Yep.
So 20 something. And I had stalled at about 10,000 words. And for those that don't know, an average novel size is anywhere from 70 to 100,000 words. And so for me to tank out at 10 and not have any freaking clue where to go from there, it's crippling. The stories that I've written so far, the books that I wrote so far, they wrote themselves. It was just a natural thing for me. They were based, not based on, but the characters that I had in my books were kind of created in the reflection of people that I know, people that I'm close to, people that I've watched over and over and over and over again give interviews and talk to one another and talk to us and whatnot as fans. And so writing completely new characters is incredibly difficult because I don't know these characters yet. I don't know what's in their minds. I don't know what they eat for breakfast. I'm stalled on all of that. And the other side of the coin too is that by moving on to a new series, my Time After Time series was my very soul. I put my heart and my soul and my life into those books. And
truth.
That's truth. I feel like they define me as an author. They define me as a writer. They're well written. They were loved by the people that have read them. So to move on from that is so terrifying because I don't know how the people are going to take the new characters. I don't know if they're going to identify with them and sympathize with them. I don't know if they're going to like them. So I mean, that's another thing too, is creating something new when the other ones were so comfortable to me. It's terrifying, and I don't trust myself enough. I look at what the different people that I know in my author groups are doing with their writing, and one of the groups that I'm in is, okay, so what went wrong with writing this week? And I went, writing. Because that's where I'm at with that. It's I joke about procrastination, and I joke about I have the soundtrack written or the soundtrack put together, whatever the case is. But it's terrifying stepping out of the box from what was comfortable to me, which was Distance in Time, Better in Time, and All This Time. My heart was in those books. So to step out and give my life and my heart and my soul to another book or another series is crippling because I don't know how they're going to be received. And when you doubt yourself, you don't want to put yourself out there.
Word.
Because it, when with my books that I wrote, and they were my babies, and just like a mother would defend her child, I hated getting bad reviews. I didn't have a lot of them, and that's not meant to sound cocky. But I had a couple of them, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to rewrite this because I want this person to like my book. And I realized, of course, that I can't rewrite it just based on one opinion. But, you know, when you put yourself out there, your whole heart and your blood and your sweat and your tears, and so many tears, there's so much heart in those books, that to do that again, I feel like, because there was so much in the last series, I don't know if I have anything left heart and soul wise to put into this series. And so or this book, it's tough to break that barrier and be like, you know what, if it's better, great. If it's not better, that's okay too, because this may reach a different crowd. You know, I had a niche with my first series because I had so many friends and so many people that bought the book, that knew kind of what it was based on. And the new series, I'm starting fresh, you know, so it's hard to trust in yourself when you feel like you gave everything you gave already, and that you have
But
to do
you
that again.
didn't, girl. You've got so much more in you. You have no idea how much. You are sitting on so many things that you need to share with everybody. And you know that I'm biased, of course, as her friend of 30 years, but as an objective reader, you're an incredible author. You really are. And you need to trust yourself a little bit, just a little bit more, just start typing, because I tell you what, girl, I want to sit down with those characters. I want to know who they are. I want to know what they eat for breakfast. I want to go on the adventure.
Yeah.
And I can't go on the adventure if you don't write the adventure.
Valid point.
I would like everybody out there in the interwebs to please let my best friend know that you would like to go on an adventure. Okay?
I really am so grateful to the people that have stuck by for all of the times that I'm like, okay, I'm sitting, I'm writing, I'm doing this. And the end of the year, they still don't have a book. And then I sit down again, you know, 2 or 3 months later, and I'm writing, I'm sitting here, I'm doing this, I've got it, I'm moving forward, and no book. And God bless you all. You have stuck by me and you believe in me, and I'm so grateful for that. But it's so hard. It's just so hard because I don't want to let my fans down. I don't want to let my readers down.
But you know what? You may gain readers. You may lose a few readers, but you'll gain the right ones. And then maybe you'll have a whole different set of readers for the next book that tackles a different journey. Do you have Post-it notes around you right now? I don't know why I just asked that. That's a rhetorical question because I know that she does.
Nope. Not at all.
That's like Dr. Seuss Cat in the Hat size stack of Post-it notes.
Well, they're littler stacks, but
okay, grab 2 colors. I want you 2 Post-its. You're going to write these 2 things down on 2 separate Post-it notes. You ready? And you're going to stick them right where you can see them.
All right.
Okay.
Let me get a black kind of marker. Okay.
Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Write the book. That's the first one. So profound, isn't it? Okay. That's the second one. That's just a reminder from Sherry. The second one is take them on the adventure. Every day. I'm going to hold this one accountable. And I'm also going to tell her every day, I'm going to say, where are we going today?
The book that I'm writing.
Say again?
The book that I'm writing currently, that she talks about being an adventure, is regarding two friends who travel to accomplish things on a bucket list. And so each day they're in a new place and they're doing a new thing, and they're discovering things about themselves and discovering things about, as far as themselves being, each character is discovering something about themselves, who is, that's the adventure, is not necessarily the places we go and the things that we do. And this is for life in general. It's not just the places we go and the things that we do and the wonderful things that we get to see and taste and feel and experience. It's what we learn from those adventures. And I think maybe I'm scared to find out what I'm going to learn about myself. And that's kind of, I don't know, maybe that's what's holding me back. I've discovered a lot about myself this last couple of years.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing, girl. It's a good thing, baby girl.
Terrible.
No. Hey, guys, don't you want to go on an adventure? Because I do. Because I do. I'm just saying. Okay, moving on. We're going to flip the script just a little bit because I don't know how long we've been talking.
I think we're well past our hour, by the way.
We try. We try. There's only so much,
Well, and I didn't know what we were going to talk about all either, so.
I know when we first started this, we were having a bit of a day, the two of us, and we were like, I just don't know if we're going to be able to. And I said, what did I say at the beginning of this? I said, that's okay. Once we get started talking, it'll be fine.
Yep. And it is. It is.
It'll be fine.
Taping notes to my computer. So
good girl. Good. And the other thing that we were going to talk about is, and we were talking about fear of trusting oneself. Okay. And what I want you guys out there, I'm going to give you guys an exercise to do. Is I want you to
you have homework.
Homework. I want you guys to sit down and I want you to think about, I want you to practice something. Anytime that a situation comes up, or you can reflect on things that have already happened in your life. I was given some great advice by my mother, and it has stuck with me, which also helps me to do it scared. Okay, that's why I just do things. Because in the back of my head, before I embark on a new adventure, because that's my new life now, now that I'm on the other side of the catastrophic events that have occurred in my life, and I have done some serious work on myself, I asked myself, what's the worst thing that can happen? Can I live with that? If the answer is yes, then I do it. Right?
Absolutely.
What's the worst thing that could happen? Well, I could lose my apartment. Yes, but you would have your car and you could live in your car. You could drive into your car and go to a hotel. You could drive back to Indiana. You could drive to Iowa. You could.
No. There will be no driving back to Indiana. Once in Arkansas was more than enough.
Sorry, Will and Amy, we love you.
We love you, Amy. We love you, Will. You guys are the only two things about Arkansas that we like. But
in any case, I'm just saying, this is also just an example, like what's the worst thing that could happen? And for me, the worst thing that I could not live with that would cause me to not do anything is the possibility of dying. Right? So what's the worst thing that could happen? Well, you could die. I'm probably not going to do that then.
I'm like, I'm in. Sign me up. What are we doing and where are we doing it?
Nah.
Where is my body going to wash up on the shore?
That's a not for me, dog. So up until that point, everything else can be dealt with, right? One of the phrases that my father always said that I have adopted, and those who know me know that I use this quite often. And I say it quickly, and sometimes people are like, could you slow that down because you used big words and you said them rapidly. If I'm vertical and ventilating, the rest is gravy.
Yep.
I've had people go, I'm sorry, what? If I'm upright, vertical, and ventilating, breathing, then the rest can be dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
The rest is just icing on the cake. Because if
Yeah.
I'm here, that's the gift, right? If I'm here and I'm awake and I'm up and I'm breathing, everything else is the adventure. So I'm trying to trust in that a little bit more. Obviously, I made this grand leap of where I'm at right now, right? That's a different topic of trust that we're going to talk about in the upcoming weeks. I want to flip the script now, and I want to talk about trusting others. Just a little. We're gonna talk a little bit, and we're going to talk about true, real fear and trusting others based on experience. I think that stems from, it starts, at least from my perspective, the fear of trusting others. It's not necessarily when that trust is broken, like, a spouse cheating on you or a significant other cheating on you. You don't have to be married. Cheat on you. Anyway, moving on from there. Not necessarily that, but along those lines is it starts smaller than that. It's when you have opened yourself up and have been vulnerable with somebody and have tried to be honest and speaking your truth. And that person has always asked you, whoever it could be, coworker, friend, whatever, in that moment. I'm just kind of talking about just in general, in generalities. Somebody somewhere in your life that you have opened up to or have been honest with has rejected your honesty. They've asked for it, but then rejected it, as in denied that that was truth, that denied that you were being as honest, and basically called you a liar. You have now, and I've said this in a podcast before, open, honest, calm communication is the foundation of everything. And when you don't allow someone to be in that space of safety and to be honest, you're asking to be lied to. They're destroying a foundation of trust. The more open, the more calm, the more honest that you can be, that just is the building block of a great foundation of trusting others. Now, when that has happened, the idea that somebody has basically rejected your honesty, that kills any sort of trust. You can no longer trust.
It can kill the entire relationship.
Yes. Now, when that happens over and over and over again, work, friends, partners, husband, spouses, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, children, it becomes that pattern of mistrust, right? So that's a really, really hard thing, guys. And everybody goes through it. Everybody. You are not alone. I always hear a lot of people saying or putting out there, well, I just don't trust people. I just don't trust anybody. Do you know how often we say that or hear that in a day? I just don't trust.
I've said it myself more times than I can count.
Right? Nobody trusts anybody. To some degree, you can't say that you trust everybody with the same level.
No, there's so many levels to trust that, getting up and doing an audition or, doing a public speaking gig or something like that where you might be embarrassed, that's a level of trust that I would consider pretty shallow. bearing your soul and the depths of who you are to someone, whether it's family, friends, or a new partner, that's a whole different level of trust. So yeah, there's a lot of layers and levels to trust.
It's like an onion. It's an
Yeah,
onion of
absolutely.
trust. I always
Yeah.
think of Shrek whenever my brain goes right to Shrek onion. Anyway, ogres are like onions. A lot of layers. Keep dropping my pen. And in any case, going back to the fear of trusting others, it's a wall. For me, it's a wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you in a little bit of time. Like I'll crack a window, I'll peek in. You're gonna see what's gonna happen, right? Nice little breeze that floats through the air. Well, I might open that window just a little bit more. Oh, I just want to feel the sun on my face. I want to open that little window a little bit more. Oh, there's ice. And
Yep.
that's the analogy that I use when I think of trust. I think of opening a window, not a door, but
Do you find yourself not trusting anybody at first and slowly opening those windows as you go, or are you one who trusts completely at first, and then if something happens, you close the windows a little bit at a time?
no, it's the first one for me, for sure. I think because of everything that I've gone through, I think we talk about me living in a castle, right?
Mhm.
And having the moat and the spikes in the
Mhm.
moat, and sometimes I retract them, and sometimes I don't. And sometimes there's a lever to the bridge, and yeah, she has a key, so we've had this conversation before, and
I know how to jump the alligators.
she
It's all
can,
good.
right? It's like Mario Brothers, turtles. Anyway, it's Mario
I'm
Brothers
gonna need
turtles.
the
Turtles.
yes.
Turtles. Yeah.
They're the
Turtles.
little turtles that you jump on, and then you
Now I
can like
have the
put
theme
them
song in my head. Anyway, I think for me, it's definitely I'm gonna unlatch that window. I just need to breathe just a little bit, and I'm gonna see what happens. It's like sticking your toe in the water, you know.
Mhm.
Especially when it comes to any sort of like deep, meaningful, lasting relationships. I have lots of friends. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But there's layers of friends, there's
Oh
levels of
yeah.
friends, just like it's just like levels of trust, right?
Yeah.
um and there is like one, maybe two people on the planet that have unlimited access to my trust. You know, like that's an unlimited thing, but there's still things that I keep here.
Mhm.
That's just my nature. You know, like you say all the time, 30 years of friendship and I'm just now finding this out. Yeah, it's because there's still things that I just keep there. Um, but that just goes back to everything that I've been through,
Right.
for sure. For sure.
And for me, if we're going back to the moat or the
Analogy.
water reference of,
Yep.
um, for me, I'm comfortable with just about everybody in 3 feet of water. I can handle just about anybody at that certain level. The 3 feet of water is the depth of what I'm willing to talk about, what I'm willing to discuss or debate. That 3 feet is pretty much across the board for
That's
me.
like waist high for you, right?
It just
She's gonna kill
comes up
me.
to my boobs, bite me. So, but then if someone does something, if they reveal themselves to me, if they share more of themselves with me, then I'm willing to walk out a little bit more into the 4.5 feet, you know. But if someone does something that makes me question their motives, their intentions, their honesty, we're going back to the kiddie pool. And I will be polite, and I will be kind, and I will be everything that I was in you know, the 3 feet, but they're only getting a foot of water now. They're only getting what I absolutely am willing to share regardless. But the more that that deeper water person shares with me, and the more that they trust me, the more I am willing to trust them. I say all the time that I don't trust anybody, but that's not true. I mean, it's impossible to not trust somebody. I mean,
To some degree, correct.
if you go into a gas station and, you know, you are paying with a $20 bill when you've got $4 worth of merchandise, you're trusting the person across the counter to give you your change.
Correct.
Just like they're trusting you that if you've put $50 in your tank and you're going to pay inside, that you're going to come in inside and you're going to pay that $50 in your tank. There's a certain level of trust with everyone you encounter. But like I said, for me, we're going back to the kiddie pool if you've done anything to wrong me. And some people, you're out of the pool entirely. You're standing on the gate wishing you could touch the water. Because when I boot, you're banned for life. You're gone. You're out. And I don't have problems doing that at all. Usually my struggles come when we go into that deeper water because I've trusted the wrong person. And at that point, I'm hollering for the lifeguard to haul them out of the, you know, the 5-foot end and throw them in their car and get them the fuck out of here. But trust is a very hard thing when it comes for me to trust others, especially men for me. You know, I was raised thinking that my dad left on purpose, that my father left on purpose. I didn't know until I was in my 20s that my mother had asked him to leave. My mom and my stepdad got divorced when I was 13, and he had met someone else when he was on the road, and he left willingly. But I've come to, you know, understand that his abandonment had nothing to do with me. It had to do with his inability to deal with my mother, who was a very controlling person, very difficult to talk to, very difficult to rationalize with. My first marriage broke up. Everything was going along fine, and next I know, I'm getting divorced. I'm having, you know, papers filed on me. So it was very, very, very hard for me to trust the men in my life. You know, there's lots of reasons why I shouldn't. In fact, there's more reasons that I shouldn't trust men than there are reasons to trust them. You know, even my own family, my spouse, my kids, lots of reasons. But we also have to be willing to risk being hurt and risk opening those walls or lowering that moat door, or, you know, whatever the case is, because from that risk can come really incredible things. But it's still very easy to go back into that frame of thinking that, you know, every single man in my life has left me. At one point or another, they have left me and they have abandoned me. So it's, you know, it's difficult to trust other people sometimes. I had a very, very hard time trusting other women. I feel like most women are out to be friends until they get what they want, and then they're gonna take off. I think there are two people, maybe three, that I trust entirely, that no matter what happens in my life, no matter what happens in their life, that we can lose touch or we can not talk for a while, and one of us will send a text or call, and it's like we just sat down, set down the phone for a minute and we picked right back up where we were.
They sound
But
great. I want to meet them.
I have two of them.
If
I have two of them.
I had my nail polish, am I one of them?
Yes, doll, you are one of them. Kimmy is the other, and there's just a lot of competition between women, and there doesn't have to be.
No.
Life is not a competition. We're all crazy. we're all off our rockers. We all have our flaws and our faults, and we all get gas, and we all fart, and we all talk stupid, and we all get drunk. Well, not you, but we all say and do stupid shit. We're all the same.
No.
There's no reason to make everything in life a competition. I had a conflict at work. Oh gosh, it's been a year and a half now, I think. And I had to address the person, and I'm like, I feel like you're angry with me for some reason, or that you're kind of gunning for me. You have to understand, I don't want your job. I don't want to do what you do. I'm very happy where I'm at, doing what I'm doing, working with the people that I work with. I don't want anything that you have. I am not a threat to you. And I think that so many women feel that other women are threats to them, or that they're going to steal their man, or they're going to steal their job, or, they're going to be a better mother than they are. And, the person's kids are going to want to play at the other woman's house rather than their own. But it's not a competition. It's just not.
Puddle jumping. Back to what we were talking about. We got off topic, but that's okay because we are verbose and tangential. Verbose meaning we have gone well over an hour of what we had intended at the start of this, and tangential meaning we go off on tangents. It's what I told you in the last podcast. You gotta strap in, guys, because we're going for a ride. We don't know where we're going, but it's gonna be wicked fast. That's what I said last time. And you were like, no, we're not going anywhere. We're just sitting in the tarmac and waiting for it. Right. I had a question. You had mentioned about, trusting men. Did you trust Nate right away?
Oh.
For those of you who don't know, she was married prior to being married to Nate. So she went through a really bad marriage.
Ugly divorce. Divorce.
I did.
It's taken us 20 years to get to a civil level. Did I trust Nate right away? I want to say that I did. Something in him resounded with me that he was a good person, and that I could let down my curtains and let him see what was behind them. If we had an argument, though, it would go right back to my doubts. He would obviously when we were dating, we weren't living together right away. And so, if we had a fight or a disagreement and he left, my fear was that he wasn't going to come back, because every other man in my life had not come back. It's still my fear that if I have a disagreement with someone, that they're just going to be gone, that I'm not worth them trying to work it out with. So I trusted Nate not to hurt me. I did not trust Nate not to leave me.
Interesting.
And between my divorce and when I met my husband, I had dated someone who lied about everything in his life. He ended up stealing my car, emptying my bank account, stealing important things from my house, things that meant a lot to me sentimentally. And he left me stuck in Des Moines without a vehicle. He took my car and he took off. So coming into meeting Nate, I was less than 2 weeks out of that relationship. And having dated that guy, I thought to myself, I can do one of two things. I can swear off dating and just chill for a while, or I can let this not hurt me and prevent what could be something really great with someone else. And I'm so grateful that I did get back on the horse and that I did meet Nate, because he is a remarkable husband. He is supportive, and he puts up with my moods and my mental health issues and my mouth. He's such a good man, and he comes from very traditional values. So me coming into his life, and especially how I've evolved over the last 20 years, he puts up with a lot. But he hasn't left. He's very good to me, and he takes care of me and believes in me. And so, it's taken a long time to get to the point where I'm not afraid that he's going to leave anymore.
Got a good egg. She's got a good egg.
He's an amazing person.
Yes, he is. He is. He is. I don't know that he's going to watch this, but I love you, Nate. And you're an amazing guy. You're the cream of the crop, buddy. Oh, hold on a second. One second. Did I get it? Dang, gummit. Hold on.
Shoot dang.
I got it. It's 11:11. It was 11:11, and I wasn't sure if I had gotten it. I just happened to look down. Like I just boom, and I was like, oh, this happens to me, guys. A lot. A lot.
I have at least like 30 pictures of her, screenshots of
I can fill a photo album with
444 and 555 and 11:11.
Yeah, last 6 months. Yeah, I think we're gonna end that. That Nate's a great guy, and you found yourself a good one. I don't know that there's a good one for me.
Oh, I do. I do.
Well, there is. And he ticks off all of the boxes.
Every single box.
Every single box. And if anybody out there who knows me knows that I have been single for a decade. Not one
And
day.
when she says single, she doesn't just mean, she's gone on a couple of dates or she's had conversations with potential suitors. The chick has not had a date in a decade by choice.
Yep. For one, because in the beginning, when I first got divorced, not that anybody cares to know any of this stuff, but when I first got divorced, I did want to become a statistic.
Yeah.
People who get divorced and remarry within the first 5 years, the divorce rate goes up by 50%. Right? You're an exception to the rule.
I am an exception. My divorce was final. It was filed clear back in February, but it was finalized August 12th, and I had my first date with Nate on August 18th.
Right.
And we were engaged within like 3 months and married within 6 months.
Right. Exception to the rule, but they're very cut and dry as to why she should have been divorced. Okay. So, she was meant to meet Nate. Nate was the one that she was supposed to be with. Does that make sense, guys? Do you see what I'm saying here? So there's an exception to that rule. For me, I didn't want that. I didn't, especially because I had young kids and I was very protective of them and who I brought into their world. So I decided if I was going to bring anybody into their world. I had to heal myself first and prove to myself that I could do it on my own and take care of my children, so that anybody who came into my life, I would be okay if they left.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? That if somebody came into my life, it was only to add to what I have already worked on and done myself and to help me grow. I was not in a position in those first 5 years, really. I thought I was.
Yeah.
I thought I was, to say, okay, I'm going to put myself out there. I was never one to date to begin with. I'm not somebody that dates. I can tell you that I've had 3 boyfriends, one of which I married in my entire life. I'm not somebody that dates casually. It's not built in me. And here's
Who's
why.
the third?
High school. High school.
Okay.
Brian.
Oh, yes, I forgot about him. Okay. I forgot completely about him.
Yeah, well, there's reasons. So sorry. He's not watching this. He's out. I haven't spoken to him since high school. Anyway, so, but for me, I can get pretty attached because I am an all-in kind of girl. You either get all of me or you get none of me. I cannot just give out pieces of me. That's not how I operate. That's not how I work. So in the first 5 years, I thought I was ready. Like I was, the man of my dreams was going to fall out of the sky, you know. And then I started thinking about what it is that I really want in a partner. And I started listing those things. And, you work on yourself, you go to therapy, and you figure out what it is that you really want in a partner, and those ideals and those their values and your vision of what you would like to do, and would they be a part of that, being independent and separate, but being, committed to the relationship, and not in an ownership kind of way like my marriage was. Do you know what I mean? So when I went through, it's just in these last 5 years that I really have sat down and like, this is what I really want. And until I find somebody that fits everything that I need, not just want, but I need for me, as in somebody who challenges me and pushes me to be better than myself, somebody who will support me in every single thing that I do, every single thing, no matter if they agree with it or not. Just not blindly.
I totally get it.
Not blindly support me, but support me. And then if I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail, but they'll support me in that failure too, because they allow me to do it, because I had to do it for myself. So those are just a couple of things. There's very physical attributes that I'm looking for. So I'm not putting that out there because I don't like, I know he's out there. I know he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I will wait.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I know that I'm not the only person out there that feels that way too, that has always known that there is that one person out there for them. And I have the patience and the discipline enough to know that I will never lower that standard. My standards are so high, and and as Sherry told in the text conversation today, you've been through too much to lower that bar now, girl.
Absolutely.
And I told her I will never lower that bar again.
Yeah.
Nor should I, because I know my worth. I know. What's that phrase? I've seen those memes before. I know what I bring to the table, so I'm not afraid to eat alone.
Yeah. And that's the honest to God truth. That whenever I see that quote, I think of you immediately, because that's exactly who you are. You have your insecurities just like we all do. But when it comes to knowing what you want, knowing who you want, and the type of person that you want, you have not swayed in those and those expectations for 10 years.
Because I believe he's there. I believe he's out there. I believe that I have been in this position and done the work on myself in this last decade because what God is going to bring me is going to be so amazing that it's going to be worth the wait.
Absolutely.
And I trust myself enough to know that and to trust in that.
Right.
So there's that. We're going to end on that note. Well over an hour, guys. We're at probably an hour and a half again.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Well, we love you. Next week, we're going to talk about the fear of the unknown and the uncontrollable.
Yes.
That's going to be a good one. Not that this wasn't a good one. I feel like this one was a good one.
Yeah.
I'm a little biased, of course.
I want to hear feedback from our viewers to see, the questions that we've kind of asked each other. I want to see, how you can relate and how well or how badly you trust others, and why those reasons are.
Yes, please send us your stories.
Yes.
Send us your feedback. We do have an email address. It is howsmylightpodcast@gmail.com. Feel free.
No apostrophe?
No apostrophe. It's all in all lowercase. How's my light? HOWSLIGHTMYLI. Did I do that right?
You forgot the S. How's my light?
It's right. How's my light? Podcast@gmail.com. And I will, once this video posts, I'll put the email address at the bottom too. And it's on our Facebook page as well, in the About section. So send us your stories. We would love to hear from you guys. Please give us the feedback. We can only grow this thing, glow up with your help. Part of that is we like talking to people. I'm sure you guys are probably tired of hearing us talk to each other. So if you'd like for us to talk to you,
absolutely, we would love to have
this diatribe. I am happy to pick people's brains and dig in. I'd be happy to dig into you.
We're gonna get Sherry on here at some point. I think we
will. We got to send her this link so she can watch this. So Sherry, if you're still awake at the end of this, honey, because we know that you can fall asleep pretty much anywhere, and that's true. That's true, and you cannot deny it.
We've seen you do it.
We've seen you do it. You've posted when you've done it, so you can't deny that. But if you've made it through this far and you're awake at this point, we'd love to be able to have you on here and have kind of like this little three-way conversation. So we'll put that out to the universe. We'll see if and when we can get her to do that. That would be swell. In any case, we hope you guys are having an amazing night, despite everything that is going on in this world right now to try to bring us all down. We're hoping that we gave you guys just a little bit of love and a little bit of light tonight, and took your mind off of that other stuff. So, I mean, we're not like John Krasinski cool.
We will never be John Krasinski cool.
No, I mean, but who is really, right?
Really.
But we hope that you've taken your time out and taken some time. We appreciate it if you have. We are so grateful. And we will see you guys next week for the live. So make sure the live podcast. So make sure to put somewhere in the comments, either here on Facebook, where you'd like to see that happen, either Facebook Live or Instagram Live. So then we'll get.
And what time frame you think would be best? Maybe we should do a poll. I think we'll put a poll up.
Let's put a poll up. As in
where it should be done.
A poll because I don't know how to do that.
I get stuck with all the schmutz work. No, I don't mind doing it. We'll put a poll up for whether you want Facebook Live or Instagram Live.
Yep.
And then I will put a poll up on time frames that work best for you guys. Obviously, Cheese and I, neither one are working out of the house right now, or working outside the house, I should say. So we're available just about any time except morning because
she's not a morning person.
I was for a little while and it threw me off and I got scared and I came back to the dark side. I'm like, what is that bright ball in the sky? So, but yeah, we'll come up with some time frames and whatnot to see what works better for the live broadcasts.
All right, guys.
We'll figure.
Bye.
Thanks for
Love
joining us.
you.
I love you back.
Okay, bye.